And we're now joined by Dr. Kamila Forkosh Lavan, licensed practicing psychologist. Thank you very much, Dr. Forkosh Lavan, for joining us again. So the reason why it is so alarming on TikTok in particular is because we're talking about a younger generation, a younger audience that perhaps lacks the database of knowledge to help them be more critical of what they're seeing and be perhaps more easier to be influenced to an extent. What can be done in terms of monitoring misinformation on this platform?
I think that you're touching on a very important point, also including the fact that they're perhaps a little bit not as aware of what's going on in general, but even if they are, yes, like it's very difficult sometimes to sift through different information and to realize what's real and what's not, especially when it's done in such an emotional manner. There is a reason why we see all these bombs and colors and things are flying everywhere, because it catches us on an emotional level. And anything that catches a person on an emotional level is much easier than to sway them and to sway their logic.
Right. So again, talking about younger children, essentially, it's a double-edged sword here that is getting even sharper. How significant is the impact of TikTok as a tool for education, or more accurately, can it be utilized to educate them instead of dumbing them down to an extent?
Well, of course, this is a huge topic, and I'm happy that you keep bringing it up, because in general media, right, and influencers and also different platforms can definitely be used as a very, very strong tool to educate, to explore, to help the mind grow. But at the same time, in the wrong hands, the same tool is like a scalpel, right? You can either kill a person or help them save their life.
Right. And, on previous shows, Dr. Forkosh Lavan, we've been discussing similar topics when it comes to Facebook and Twitter. And these two platforms are perhaps more knowledge or news-oriented. And even for them, it took some time to catch up with how to monitor misinformation. Do you think TikTok will be able to catch up?
Well, it depends. Of course, everything, finances are at the end of the day at stake as well, but also, of course, the morals and the ethics and what people who run them, these platforms, have in mind, right, and how much control they have also over the audience that is able to post things and things like that. So I'm hoping that at some point they will realize the damage that this is causing, even if it is at the cost of financial bonuses or whatever, because the more views you get, the more money you make. Yes, so
right.
Like anything else, at the end of the day, economy. But I'm hoping that more than money, people will actually go for the fact that this is very, very damaging, especially to children. And on a bigger scale, right? Again, going back to generational, like this is how we're raising our children. This is our future people that are running our governments and things.
And touching to that point, exactly, even us as grown-ups become somewhat indifferent when we're seeing so many tough images, getting quote-unquote used to the scenes of war. And with young children, just scrolling through their feed, are they becoming less able to express empathy, to get a grasp of what war means when it becomes so accessible and the pace is so high?
For sure, of course. I mean, we know this also from simulations. Simulations are being used, for example, in sports or NASA or anything like that, or also for psychology, like guided imagery and things like that. It's a very, very powerful tool, because essentially the brain doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality to a big extent, right? So if you see over and over again content that's very violent, after a while, of course, you're going to be desensitized. And we also see different games, video games, often using real images or very lifelike images, to where after a while, it's just a game.
Right, just a game, but reality for many people. Dr. Kamila Forkosh Lavan, thank you, a licensed practicing psychologist. Thank you, as always, for your somewhat alarming analysis of the current generation, but always offering some optimism at the very end. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you. It's nice to see you as always.